Calling to order the June 10th Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting. We start with the roll call.
Yes. Aaron Angel is not here. Scott Conlon.
Here.
Thomas Davis, not here. Paige Lewis.
Here.
Sam Libby.
Here.
Nicholas Novello.
Here.
And Council Liaison Sean McCoy.
Present.
Thanks. All right, let's move on to the approval of the agenda. Do we have any?
I was just gonna ask if we could go to 6A first and let Sherry make her presentation, so and then go back to our old business after
I
that.
think that's a really considerate and very kind of you. I think we made you wait in previous meetings too, which is, I'm okay with that, but if you have any concerns, from that one. Okay, so then if that's the case, then is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended with item 6A at the top, right after approval agenda, right?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, cool. Well, then we'll come back to previous month's minutes. Oh, do we have a second? I'm sorry.
Second.
A second. Okay. All in favor? Okay, cool. Follow the procedures. Okay, so then let's go straight into that then, and then we'll come back to approval of previous month's minutes. So Sherry, please start off.
Thank you. So I do have some remarks that I'll just read because I get nervous. Sherry Malloy, 1632 Sherman Way, Longmont resident of 40 years, here to speak to item 6A, Longmont's open space extension. I have these brochures. We were here before and we passed them out, so if you need another one, maybe we can pass those around if somebody would like to refer to that. But I do thank you for making this an agenda item and considering this this issue. As you may recall, I'm a member of a small group advocating to have our city council place the extension of our current open space tax in perpetuity on the November 5th ballot. Our original open space and use tax of 0.2 cents was passed by Longmont residents in 2000 and extended in 2007. That's 2 cents on every $10 spent. This tax will sunset in 2034. Just as the voters in Longmont permanently approved the 3/4 cent transportation tax, we believe they will likely support the permanent open space tax extension as well. Lafayette voters extended their open space sales tax indefinitely with 82% approval. This is the year for such a ballot issue. There are not a bunch of local tax questions before the voters. At this point, only St. Vrain Valley School District is asking for a bond election without the need for a tax increase. Having an ongoing established revenue stream would help the city and Natural Resources Department with long-term planning and relieve competition on the general fund. Longmont residents love our open spaces and the many benefits they provide. Some of the obvious experiential benefits residents receive include hiking and biking on trails, recreation like swimming, picnicking, photography, painting, fishing and tubing, alternative transportation connectivity, wildlife viewing opportunities, community buffers, and scenic views. Less obvious, yet essential benefits include critical wildlife habitat and movement corridors, protection of forests and riparian health, restoration of native plants and pollinators, safeguarding our watershed, decreasing flooding in riparian areas by stabilizing banks, helping our air quality, and supporting agriculture and local food production. Healthy open spaces have mental and societal benefits. A 15-minute walk in nature improves mental health by elevating mood, reducing stress, and improving memory and concentration. Physically, it lowers heart rate and blood pressure, and improves our immune system. Our open space program is an amenity with economic values that attract families and business, making Longmont a desirable place to live, play, and work. As Longmont's development continues to flourish and densify, the myriad benefits of the open space program will become only more valuable. To ensure resources are available for the future, we're asking that our city council place this measure on the fall ballot. We have a long-term obligation to protect and maintain our open space lands. That takes resources. Our group has been educating the public and garnering community support on this effort for the last year. We have an appeal we've asked people to sign. So far we have 946 names on our appeal. I'm here to ask for PRAB's endorsement of this effort. Doing so helps inform City Council to give serious consideration about how they will maintain our valuable open space amenity to align with Longmont's core values. We intend to update City Council about where our efforts are tomorrow evening and formally ask for their direction to staff to be made on June 25th. That's it.
Thank you, Sherry, for sharing with us. It's great. So let's open it for some discussion. I don't know if there's any questions or comments that you want to ask Sherry while she's here.
Has City Council had any previous discussion?
I don't believe we had.
We've kind of, lobbied or talked to a few and we've been very enthusiastic. Similarly, I met with city manager and he was also, very kind of enthusiastic about our didn't see, wanted to make sure he didn't see any issues or have any, any concerns, or did he, just kind of to have that conversation. It was a very productive conversation and he was enthusiastic. So, of course, he's not going to steer council one way or the other, but he himself was. So,
I guess I would say nobody has said anything negative. I don't think that, I think that the majority of folks on council right now would support that. I can't think of anybody, I don't see anybody, railing against taxes, tyranny and all that other stuff.
the biggest question seems to be why now if it doesn't sunset until 2034? And so the rationale is, as said, development is happening now, kind of gives people a sense that, wow, this is something I can do, and kind of connect to the value of open space. And then we want to do it in a presidential year. That's when you have big turnout. And in the worst case scenario, if we didn't pass this fall, then we have 2028, rather than 2032 waiting till right at the end. So it's just sort of a strategizing, and truthfully, some of us, there's only a handful of us doing this, maybe won't have the bandwidth in 5 or 8 years. So that's kind of that's been the big question is what's the rush now?
I'd add that too. What would be the rationale of waiting, right? Make that argument.
Right. Oh, somebody's coming in.
And is it just a matter of City Council recommending it for the
City
ballot?
Council would be asking them to direct staff to, to pursue this with coming up with some language for the ordinance, and then it would come back for first and second readings and that kind of thing. But we actually were thinking of doing it in July, but then these things take a little bit of time. Because we're still working events. Like we were at Pride Fest the other day and got a bunch, and then we'll be at Juneteenth and rhythm. So we'll continue to campaign for it. But we wanted to come to count. Our goal was actually 500, and then we were doing so well, we upped it to 1,000, and right now we're at 946. So we're in very good shape to go forward, and we actually might even do it because the Natural Resources Department is presenting an update tomorrow night, but David Bell, the director, is was on vacation, and Mayor Peck is also on vacation, so that's why we're going to wait 2 weeks to come back for the.
I take this out because this is, they laminated this for every council member, that these are the core issues that the council is interested in focusing on. And of course, climate action and the issue around, some of our core services and water and everything, and recreation are, are some of the most important aspects as we see, we've built the pillars of our community on that. So that's kind of where we're at, and I think that all of council agree to that, and so that's a good thing. So we're trying to always stay true and focused on those sort of things. So I can't see, we're dealing with interesting times, as they say. People, there are going to be some folks that think that we should, not add anything or do anything like that. But we're always going to have those folks, and that's a noisy minority, not the majority of folks. I feel. I think was it Louisville you said or Lafayette?
Lafayette.
I think that's a good reflection of Lafayette. Particularly is much more closely aligned to Longmont sort of Old Town sort of small town sort of thinking. They have teaching in Louisville and Lafayette, the Superior area. I have that exposure too, and I feel that that's something that we'll see here too.
And one more thing I didn't say, but it's likely Lafayette voted for it, and why we're feeling so confident that Longmont will too, because when the first 4 words on the ballot are without raising any taxes, that's kind of a good indicator for a yes.
So I want to be digitally friendly too, and make sure that Sam, you have an opportunity to speak up. By the way, are you dialing from like a log cabin? It looks amazing. But I want to make sure you have an opportunity to chime in if you have any questions, or comments on.
Yeah, it's all log cabins in Vermont, which all we got out here. So. No, I appreciate the narrative and Councilmember McCoy's comments too. I would just ask, I'm interested in how the tax rate compares to other municipal open space taxes. I'm familiar with the county tax that was extended last year. Do you happen to know if there are other city level open space taxes that compare to this one?
I don't. I defer to Danielle for that, or it's David, but he's not here.
I can find out.
She's looking now.
Yeah.
Looks like she's looking.
It would be helpful to be able to compare that and say either direction. If it's more, then that's a great thing for the city. If it's less, then it's a good deal for voters, maybe.
Right.
I would think that's something to consider is whether it's an appropriate amount. It's certainly easiest to not change it, I think. But it would also be a chance to consider changing it if it's been insufficient or if it's substantially less than other similar municipalities. So, yeah, I'm generally in favor of extending it, like you said, but I also think it's a chance to look at is it the right amount.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We should get our facts on that before we go to council, and we're actually going to the other board. Somebody else has a tab tonight, and we're going to SAB next week, and WAB.
So the Boulder County 2024 sales and use tax is 0.125.
Point
And that's ours.
ours is 0.2.
But there's also a city of Boulder and a city of Lafayette with those, I believe, that overlays on that.
Right. Lions.
I've always been really supportive of extending this, or permanently extending this tax, so I mean, I'd be happy to make a motion in that regard.
I want to get there for sure. I do want to. You bring up a good point, which is on the agenda. We talk about it as open space tax extension, but it's really not an extension, is it? We're talking about codifying, making it permanent. So maybe that's just like an agenda prab thing, but more so just to note is that how city council, or question is that how city council is thinking about it too? I mean, we should be calling it like permanent
Codification to sort of that. I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, that's an excellent point. I think I'd be careful about using too permanent of language.
I see.
Just because people are funny about that. If you just say they're making it permanent, good. If you say codifying, it starts to have the ring of some of the politicalized, things that are going on right now in regards to, let's say, abortion and things like that.
Sure.
So we probably want to be careful, as much as we all think, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Probably that language means a lot to some folks.
It's a messaging strategy. Okay.
I would just say if you do a motion to recommend, that you just leave that part out and let council
Figure out the details of it. It's really more so the, we call it, it's an extension, right? Okay, so let's talk about what that motion is really going to look like, right? So we talked about endorsing this. I really think the action is a recommendation to a potential action, right? Would be a recommendation to city council to pursue, to ask city staff to pursue an investigation or pursue this as. What would you call
Support a
that?
permanent extension of the open space on the November
Just keep it simple. It's just like okay.
So I misspoke
Oh.
on the Boulder County amount.
I looked at the ballot language from November 2023, and it was without increasing taxes for 15 years, 0.05%.
0.5, okay, so less than. So Paige, do you feel comfortable making that motion? Okay. If you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I move that recommend to City Council that they support a permanent extension of the open space tax on November 2024 ballot.
Okay. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. That's great news. Okay, that's great. So I think that means that we're good on that topic. It's really exciting stuff. Thank you so much, Sherry, for coming in and
Yes,
speaking
thank
to
you all.
us.
Yeah,
Thank you all for
keep us
serving.
posted on the process.
Will do, yes.
Yes.
Those, what are you using is it just to get it on there, or in case somebody, what are all the signatures for?
Oh, this says, we the undersigned urge Longmont Mayor Peck and city council members to protect Longmont's important and sensitive current and future open space areas from the intrusion of damaging urban development. Specifically, we are asking council to place a measure on our 2024 Longmont ballot asking residents to make our 22-cent Longmont open space sales and use tax permanent for the purpose of land acquisition as well as maintenance and enhancement of open space areas.
So you would only use those in case.
We're just using, this is just because we're kind of, we've just been kind of garnering public support and kind of talking to people about the value of open space and yeah, kind of say there's a lot of people who would like to see this, put on the ballot.
Is there a process in Longmont?
It's not a
to-
formal petition, it's an appeal.
Can we do that though? Petition to put something on the ballot at the city level?
Yes.
Yes, we could have done that, that costs a lot of money, to kind of get the languages right and run all the copies and we can just print it on.
And it has to be voters of Longmont.
X number and, yeah.
And to Sam's point, he's talking about, what if the council has this conversation and says, hey, maybe we should, look around and see what other communities are doing, and if 0.2%, 0.02%, is that what it is willfully low, and we don't know what might happen in the future, then maybe we should. But I don't think that anybody's going to go down that path, to be honest with you. I just think that that's just
Easier just to extend.
make it
Yes,
there,
that,
then we can always expand that.
That we purposely did not do that
Make it permanent.
because that would be a much harder,
No, that's
Lift.
fine.
It looks pretty in line with other cities from what I'm seeing here in my cursory research. Boulder County seems less, but city of Lafayette is 0.25. City of Boulder just had it, I think it was 0.33. 0.33. Oh, that was in 2013.
I think City of Boulder also has a retail use tax, not only a property tax levied. And so there's some different overlays on that.
Well, then all I can say for certain is that it's similar to Lafayette at this point, but I'll put that together for you guys and send it to you.
Yeah, and sooner the better for me, because it's on first reading. And so,
I think tomorrow we're not.
it's showing just on zero reading,
Yeah.
discussion,
That'll be in a
so
couple weeks.
in case it comes up, and then I can respond.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. I'll send it to you.
Fantastic. All right, next signature.
Yes.
All right,
Well,
And we're gonna move on to back up to agenda item 3, which is approval of previous month's minutes. Anyone have any comments on the previous month's minutes? Scott, you weren't here.
No.
Any adjustments to make? Any adjustments? No. Do we have a motion to approve the previous month's minutes? So.
I think that we're pretty
Oh. Thanks, Paige. Okay, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Sam. All those in favor, I don't know how that works. Yeah,
And I'm just abstaining.
you're just abstain, okay, but it passes, okay. Cool. Alright, so let's move on to old business, which is finalizing the board field trip, which I'm very
Do
excited to
you
do.
need to be publicly invited to be heard even?
Oh, I really am. Okay,
No,
yes.
You're fine. I
Thank
just-
you
just-
for calling that out. Do we have any public invited to be heard? Great agenda item. We don't have any public invited to be heard. Thank you again, though, for calling me
No,
and
I
holding me
just-
accountable.
Someone will come back and say we didn't do something right, you know?
You're right,
Yeah,
and I should
so
get it
right
right. Yep. Okay, let's move on to old business filings and board field trip. So, Jeff, you're going to help us talk through this a little bit, but we went back and forth on this in the past 2 meetings about what we're kind of leaning towards. I think we've aligned that we want to do the field trip. We want to go and be doing the field trip, and we're looking at different times specifically, and okay. Oh, they came around. There's plenty of things. And it seems like what we're coming down to is August 5th is really the time it's going to work, and specifically the itinerary that we have laid out here, which is awesome. Thank you for figuring this out. Do you want to take over from here? It sounds like you are.
Sure, and after talking with Scott early before the meeting started, it looks like all 6 of the board members are going to be available. By then, we will have a 7th member, and we'll have to just verify with them. We talked, Stephanie and I talked a little bit today about the tour itself, and we thought that we have kind of a unique opportunity this year that we really have not had in the past, where the board will actually be able to go on site of 3 different parks that are going to be under construction. So we'll have, we'll actually have hard hats and vests and everything for you all to go out there, and feel like we've got enough time. We'd be here at 5:15 with the van leaving at 5:30, and we'll have everybody back to this building by 8 o'clock, be the plan. So hopefully everybody's okay with that.
Congratulations on finding a good day.
Yeah. Well, and it's really odd that it worked out, because before we talked to the board, staff did a survey, and August 5th was the only date that all 4 of us could go as well. So it's pretty odd that it worked out for everybody. So we will provide some kind of sandwich that night in the van, so that you have something to eat. And again, we'll get back here at 8 o'clock.
That's great.
That's great.
So we have alignment on that. I don't think we need a motion on that, right?
No.
Okay, okay. Really looking forward to it. It's gonna be really informational, and I can't wait to take a picture with all of us with the vests on. I'm just gonna put it out there. That's gonna be my highlight of it. Okay, then let's move on to new business. We're gonna skip over 6A because we covered that already, and it's gonna move to the update on the 8 parks in 5 years. 8 and 5. And this is what I think is gonna be.
I need to, re-familiarizing from last month how to do this in Zoom from Teams, so just a second. Zoom. Present.
It's good for me.
Okay, I'm gonna try and move. Let's see, I'm afraid you're gonna, oh, I can't move you, okay. See how this goes. There we go, okay. All right, so yeah, we wanted to give an update, just on the 8 and 5 projects. There's a lot going on right now, and it's really exciting. I know, so we put together all of the slides, and Danielle's gonna help me because her team is doing some of these projects as well. But as you guys know, we have 8 projects identified to be completed in 5 years. So Clover Meadows Neighborhood Park, Dry Creek Community Park, Synthetic Turf, Fox Meadows, those are all 3 under construction right now. Union, and we'll get into that, is in the works when we get to that slide. And then the last 4 are the ones that we're putting in the CIP to determine what those timeframes can be with the funds that are needed to do those projects. So we'll skip on to Clover Meadows. Oh, I'm on the wrong. It's hard when you have 2 families. So Clover Meadows. I don't know how to make this thing go away, but so anticipated completion date for Clover Meadows is still fall 24. And this is what we have this is as of last Friday. So if you look up here at the plan that has been put together, this is based off the original master plan. It's just a little bit more specific now that we've had the design completed. We have the main entry down here with the playground. Then there's the shelter near the playground, the restroom building, and then some green lawn space for kids to play. No official sports fields, just for practice or whatnot, whatever they want to do.
What are the cross streets?
This is Heather Hill Street and Old Ranch Drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if we need to pop out to Google, just let me know. You can look at Google. And then up here in the northwest, we have an apple orchard that's going to be going in, and we're working with our forestry team. They're actually going to procure the trees once the park is constructed, but all of the irrigation and everything will be set up for that, so that we have some of that, it's similar to what we have over at Rogers Grove, but a little bit more established. I don't know if you've ever walked through the apple orchard at Rogers Grove. And then over here we have a bike playground, it's called. So you can kind of see it taking shape here. Oh, there we go. Let me stand over here. So it's, we have a little bike area over at Dickens, but it doesn't have any of these types of features. It's really more earthworms and things like that, logs. So this is actually, all of this design was by the same company that just did the Birthday Bike Park and several others in the area. So they're just starting to get them all in, but just some fun ups and downs. They go through some hoops here, some wavy things, up on a little platform and down, some ups and downs and some throughs. So it should be fun for the kids. And then this is the playground starting to take shape. So that is this larger circle. And then over here you'll see this little circle, which is the sand play area. So this is one of the play features that's already been delivered and is just put off to the side while they're building, but it's kind of a fun nature-themed playground. So yeah, so every week a lot of progress is made, and they're getting ready. They're getting close to the restroom building, this prefab modular building, to be set, as well as the shelter. So moving on to the next one underway. So Dry Creek. Now this one's not quite as exciting visually, but it sure looks a lot better than it used to already. So this is where the old sports fields had originally been located that were failing. The turf didn't grow well there. And I'm trying to see, you can't see. So to orient you, I don't know if anyone's been over there. There's the cricket pitch over here on the east side, and then the new multi-use sports fields over here. Those won't be striped. They will, that will allow the recreation programming to strike them for whatever games they're having. And the cricket pitch is actually going to remain natural turf for their choice. So that it will be overseeded and improved some. But yeah, they're getting ready to, I think now that this is all graded, they're going to start coming back and putting in the under drain system. And that's really the biggest piece of this, is how to get the water out, because that was the biggest issue. So,
Is there a berm on the side of the cricket pitch?
yeah, and that's currently there.
Oh, that's kind of cool, because I know at the other cricket pitch over near Garden Acres, that's got a berm there, and the folks are playing all the time. And now that the United States beat Pakistan, I think there's going to be a bigger interest in cricket.
And there is a history where they're already been playing there. They can't play there now because of the construction. It's the same as Garden Acres, that if you go out there on a Saturday and Sunday, it's pretty packed with
Oh, yeah.
cricket players.
So Fox Meadows, so we're gonna be under construction yet this month on Fox Meadows, so it's getting ready to be mowed and the fencing's gonna be going up, mobilization for the GC will be occurring, so a lot of activity in the next couple of weeks. We just reached 100% design and we've we're working with the contractor on finalizing the GMP so that we have the construction number to work from. But that we'll just keep moving forward. It's been nice to have the best value approach on these projects because we established the contracts last August for all of this work, design and construction, so that doesn't slow us down transitioning from design to construction like other projects. This one's kind of fun too because it has also more of a nature. That's what in the public process they chose a nature play for the playground, and it's just kind of got fun little things that look like logs and wood but aren't logs and wood. So be more durable. And this one, the other unique feature about this park is it'll have a zip line. So one of the, there's only a couple in Longmont, so kids like that stuff.
How long
Like
is
the
this?
one in Lions, the park in Lions?
Like Wilbur Johnson. I don't know how long it is in
No,
comparison.
not Lions, sorry, I meant, Iowa.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Is that what the example is what the kid's writing there?
It is, yep. Mm-hmm.
And this was in still like a half court or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a half court right here. Yep, and then it'll also have a bocce court. And the shelter, the restroom is here, the shelter is here. So this one, the shelter and restroom are placed sort of between the half court and the playground. The bocce over here, and then this one, you know, this is basically a detention basin where this park is constructed. So that the deepest part there is the part that will remain detention and native grass, but otherwise there's going to be a lawn portion here for the kids and whoever wants to play on the turf portion. And then aside from that, there will be some native grasses and then some crusher fine, a combination of crusher fine and concrete pads. So I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Okay, this is the Union Reservoir interim trail, and we are going out for a design RFP this year. We had a critical meeting with some other departments today, engineering and water resources, trying to get some questions answered so we can get our RFP out the door, and I believe
I'm sorry, hold on. Oh, there we go, okay. I tried to stop the thing and then I really stopped it, okay.
Oh, so anyway, this is the interim trail, which is funded separately than the Greater Union Reservoir Master Plan improvements. So this trail is meant to be built and will be in place until which time the Union Reservoir is expanded. So getting to the point where we can get out for a design RFP in the near future this year is exciting, and that's where we're at with this one.
And you have to go into the front gate of Union to access it, or?
That is, all of it's to be decided still. It's conceptual right now, but that's the way the Rangers would like it, because it's gonna make it a lot easier for them to manage
Or
everything.
know who's on the trail?
Yeah, with one ingress, egress.
Unlike, I was thinking of like Macintosh, but you don't necessarily know.
porous.
Yeah.
This'll have a technical advisory committee all throughout, especially during that conceptual design phase where we'll hear from rangers, wildlife technicians, everything, so all the different values and things will be brought to the table and discussed. Is my next one next, or is it in a little bit?
Can I ask about Union for a second?
Sure.
Just as you get into that design, if we can have a craft discussion about that as well.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
some interesting, complex topics, and it'd be great to have a chance to talk during the design phases about where you guys are thinking and technical committee is going, rather than just reviewing design when it's already baked.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, recreation would like to be a part of that too.
Well, you are, you're on the tap. Swearing's on the tap.
All right, I would like to be on
That's what I meant.
there. Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, so now the remaining projects, so all of those are kind of getting going or under construction. So then, the next, of the park projects that we had included in the CIP were, the phase 4 of the Sandstone Ranch. So just kind of showing the bright areas of what's still to be completed in order to complete what was intended by the master plan. And so that includes the 4 ball fields and that complex. It included a sports court over by the skate playground, as well as a new playground, score booths, restrooms, and shelters. So as I mentioned, we put it in our 25-29 CIP that'll be submitted to council in September, October, and then we'll have more direction on that piece.
One response on that, I don't think you need to build score booths. We have them and
Yeah.
limited use of them.
That'll be a good piece of that design discussion for sure.
Oh, score booths. Oh,
Because if you have them, you generally have to have a volunteer or paid person to do that. And
right.
most groups just have somebody with a book and are doing it.
Oh, even if you're doing big competition type of things
Yes.
too.
Is that kind of like the concessions as well?
Concessions, we have gotten out of that world. And I would say that my thought would be that we make space for food trucks and that sort of thing, so that they can come in during big events. Because what we found is that's when we made money on the evening things. There was not enough demand, so we had people out there really for nothing. That's what we got out of it.
Okay, and this is another one from the open space group, the St. Vrain Greenway 12. We also submitted it into the 2025-2029 CIP. So we're looking for council response and direction on that. And so this would be the final phase of the St. Vrain Greenway. As you know, we're currently working on phase 13, which goes east from Sandstone Ranch and connects into St. Vrain State Park. We'll be building an underpass to get under the highway and connect into the state park. So this would be the final phase. Phases 1 through 11 go through the city, and then this phase starts at Golden Ponds and goes west and connects into Boulder County's trail system. And so we're looking to start design in 2026 using Conservation Trust and open space funds. And like I said, it's in the CIP for review in September, October.
And what's this cross street up here?
Well, this is airport, and so this is Golden Ponds and the tracks.
Oh, tracks, okay,
Yeah.
I see, and that building over there is the one,
This house.
it's the one kind of just up from the city facilities?
Yeah.
Right one?
Kind of across from St. Frank Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just trying to, wow.
Yeah, so the trail, and it's currently, in 2011, it was, a feasibility study was put together and a potential route. It'll be revisited just to validate that feasibility whenever funding's approved, because this all was studied before the flood, for one, but also just, are there any other ideas, is this the best location? But what they had planned was to bring the trail along here, and then up here, it sticks a little closer to that along that property boundary of the land that will be transferred to the city, and then it pops under the road here to the Zweck property, and then that's where it connects to the Boulder County. On the land transfer, we do have 6 of 7 signatures now on the deeds, and I expect the last one this week, so the land will be transferred to the city once all of those are received.
I think you should wait like a week after David gets here to share that good news.
Yeah. Wait till something happens.
Quick question on this. Is you said connection to the county trail system. My recollection was that is basically the pellet crossing trails, right?
Well, and they'll go along the railroad tracks and then over to airport. That's the continuation of those. And then it goes
Okay.
down that east side of the Zweck property.
On the east side of Airport Road.
East side of the property it's on the west side of Airport Road,
Okay.
so it'll go up
So
to the
that's
tracks.
it's a planned county trail system.
Yes.
Okay.
What's their time frame for that?
Just slightly behind ours. I think it's, if we start design in 26, I believe they're starting design in 27, 28.
So then we have the Quail Campus Master Plan improvements. As we submitted it in the CIP, it would follow the Sandstone Branch Phase 4 build-out. And this is the one that's a little different because the master plan originally called it the ice arena. So I don't know, we don't know if that would go back to council for review because the thought is to maybe a pickleball complex would be of more value to the community. So that's a discussion piece to be had.
That's debatable.
But in addition to what that element is, then it's also additional parking. There would be a creekside labyrinth, fun little play space, and then some open turf area, and then there is still another need to expand the irrigation pond a little bit if that work doesn't occur before this project is underway with other projects.
And I think Paige, in regard to the ice rink, that it wouldn't make sense to build another recreation facility right next to ours. That's why pickleball might be a better opportunity here, but that doesn't mean that an ice rink couldn't possibly go out at Dry Creek or Clark Park or any of the other ones that we've identified over the years.
But it was originally put in the master plan to have both the rec center and the ice facility in this location.
As a possible location, yeah. At the time we were doing it, we just wanted to reserve land to make sure we had a space if needed. And then after this was done, the first time, Dry Creek became an opportunity.
Yeah, there's a lot of push I see, between the hockey crowd and the pickleball crowd. Although I feel that the pickleball crowd is much more dedicated.
Well, they don't want to pay anything, but that's true. Ice people will pay money. Pickleball people don't pay money.
No, I agree, but they vote.
Yeah, sure.
And the hockey folks pay a lot of money and are really engaged and active with it, but they are really committed to making sure they're getting their kid to the game and to the practice and everything like that, but don't seem to have the same dedication to getting it on the ballot, helping get it funded.
I don't know that I would agree with that assessment.
So this one's gonna require a little more public engagement, discussions with city council. It's not quite as simple as completing the master plan.
I want to talk just a little bit about some of the improvements. We don't, right now, there's a dog leg that the city owns to back to Main Street. And there is a document that says that whoever makes the land swap happen first has to pay for improvements to that site, which includes Kansas, which is at the top of right in there, as well as the road back down to Quail Road. And so at some point in time, the museum's gonna need more parking, but we also are trying to work with city engineering and determine, does that road that goes up to where the pickleball courts could go, could that be a park road as compared to a dedicated street? Because the improvements are way more expensive to dedicate it as a street as compared to having just a road in the park. So those are things that would be discussed along with this as well.
Would that mean that it would be like gravel or?
I think it could be asphalt, but it doesn't have to have all the curb and gutter and all of those things.
So this only includes the exterior, this wouldn't include any like upgrades needed to the rec center that's on this campus?
No.
So what would need the improvement is over here where you have the roundabout. And that part into there is where you're saying you'd want to put in your curbing gutter and all that.
Yeah, I think part of the discussion would be if that connects roundabout to roundabout, it probably needs to be a street. But if it's just a way to easily get into the rec center or up to tennis or pickleball, maybe it doesn't need to be as extensive as maybe what this was originally discussed.
Looks like we could have another cricket court there.
So then that brings us to Dry Creek Community Park Phase 2. So this is a pretty significant Phase 2. So what you'll see here, this is the master plan. I've kind of shaded out the areas that have been, are being, or will be at some point completed. And then the darker areas are the areas that would still need to be included in this phase. So in this, we have a couple of ball fields. They're not like the sandstone, but more practice fields. A maintenance building is a piece of this, which would allow some of the maintenance staff to have a zone, a home base in this zone over here. Outdoor handball, racquetball. This is when we move the sledding hill. So, we have the sledding hill, we take away the sledding hill, we put back the sledding hill, and then we move the sledding hill. So also sand volleyball, some water, a water plaza with interactive water features, and the promenade crossing of Dry Creek, so that becomes a really fun space. Like this whole area, it's just, lined with trees and nice little areas for families to gather and kids to play. And then it also had a playground and some more restrooms and shelters. So this one is the furthest out. This one's towards the end of our CIP that we just submitted. But to Jeff's point on the ice, it makes more sense here than there. That's kind of where, we have the discussions with Quail to see what we can do with Dry Creek.
Where is this space that does this still reserve space for future rec center or facility of some sort?
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, it's still there.
So it's the pool, the outdoor pool, and the rec center are in this zone right here.
I think the one thing, Stephanie, we need to remember is that if a large facility is ever built there, there has to be a second entry exit into there that might tie over to that Mountain Avenue.
Mountain Drive.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll have to be considered with that.
Yeah.
And I think this may be drivable. I can't say either way, but that'll be a consideration for sure.
Would that be parking, like that walkway, interesting?
There are parkings. I wish I had the rendering. There was a rendering from the master plan, and I don't have it right here right now to see what it was. But it was all conceptual. So
Your earlier slide, where was that with the cricket?
oh, so the cricket. So the cricket ended up being here. So this is from the master plan when they didn't know what the configuration of the sports fields would be, and I don't know if they had originally planned to put it in the middle, which seemed odd, but it ended up being over here.
On the original plan.
Yeah.
So this is where it really
Just
is.
okay, good.
This is the conceptual plan, literally from the master plan.
Right.
So there will be additional sports fields beyond what the ones that are there.
Yes.
No, not new programmable sports fields.
To the west, there would be.
There would be
baseball,
2 ball
yeah.
fields, and that would be the addition of the sports fields, yeah.
And will the disc golf totally be gone?
No, I think that, because a lot of that's where the rec center is, so then, does disc golf kind of, migrate within here? Once again,
It's not very functional
discussions.
right now, but.
Disc golf is a pretty easy thing to accommodate, just finding some fun routes and things. But this is, this master plan was completed a bit ago. Whenever we get to this point, it's just gonna, everyone around the table, and let's see what we can do with it. But that containing the master plan?
This one?
This is specific to the park versus the Parks, Recreation and Trails master plan. So the other slides that I have, I can do during staff update for other parks. That was, concludes the 8 and 5 update portion, so.
So Nina Gala was not part of 8 and 5, it's just out on its own.
And it's one of our biggest parks, and it's gonna be under construction.
Did it go back out today already?
So it will by the end of the month. It's in procurement's queue. They're kind of backlogged right now. There's a lot of projects going on, and I know my team has 3 or 4 like proposals or things going out in BidNet right now, and in June it's also in that queue. So get to those during staff updates.
Great. Any, maybe I had a lot of questions, but any last thoughts on this before we move on? From Sam? Okay.
I guess that's a question, like in terms of what's being proposed in the CIP, like what's the feeling in terms of priority of these, elements in the CIP compared to other elements?
Well, the park projects, the new parks are coming from the Park Improvement Fund, so we're not competing for those funds, which is nice. It's more the renewal projects are the ones where we compete the most for money. Having said that, we have to balance our request for scope and our fund, our cash flow. So that's where it all becomes rather tricky when planning that.
Thanks. Okay, alrighty. Let's move on to discussing items from the packet. Anyone have any comments, questions, or items from the packet they want to talk about?
I had an item just kind of in notes, and it was just for you, Danielle, but we talked last time about a state landlord parcel next to Buttonrock that you guys were interested in, and I had mentioned to David that I would be happy to talk with you more about it, because we've been doing some work on conservation and state landlord parcel, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that. If you're interested in talking more about conservation in partnership with state landlord, I would be happy to.
Sure, that would be great. I did touch base with them the other day to get clear on when we could potentially fit in their queue. And it's in their fiscal year 2026, which starts in July. They can do 2 direct exchange transactions per year. So that's when there'll be space for this to potentially occur.
And you guys would look to do an exchange, not a purchase or anything like that?
No, they just call it the direct exchange process. We would be looking to purchase the property that we currently have a recreation lease on. Our recreation lease currently expires in June 2025, so that's paid by Water Resources. It's $10,000 a year, and we would re-up that in the interim time. But speaking to state land board, they said there's various things that we can do between now and then. We wouldn't want to get an appraisal because it would get stale by the time we're ready to get started. But there are other things we can do leading up to it. So sure, let's have a conversation.
Scott?
And with revenues from recreation, do you have a sense of numbers in terms of visitor numbers? Because it's hard to, I guess, it's been hard for me to compare apples to apples since the rates have gone up each year. Because obviously
Yes,
but
I'll put something in for next month. I can tell you, given the rec center, Chris at the rec center does a report for us actually every week on attendance there. And that is pretty much every week is above last year. This last week was not, which is not surprising because a year ago it rained, and so people go to the rec center. This year, dry and hot, and people are out at sunset, so that would be the difference. But yeah, it's past what we were last year, similar to what we would have seen in 18 and 19. So, but I'll put something together next month and add that in.
Okay.
And I can tell you sunset's killing it, which is, shouldn't be a surprise for anybody.
Yeah.
You got another?
I have another. I mean, it feels like Thompson Park is slipping. I mean, we're now only talking about granting
It's
them.
going to be fenced in by the end of the month as well. It's in my.
Right, yeah, but we were talking about like having it starting earlier, right? So,
Right, so that, we did have 2 bidders, and that is
right,
great,
Yeah.
and they're both qualified, and they were both very close to each other's costs. So it really, they were 2 valuable bidders, as opposed to what we experienced in other parks.
right.
So they're awarding that, I wanna say it's next week is when that contract gets executed.
Okay. Is there an estimate? I don't know if there was an estimate on completion time.
Whenever we get the contract executed with the contractor, then they'll give us the construction schedule, and then we'll have that completion date. It's anticipated to go into Q1 of 25 for Thompson.
Okay.
That's a part of my staff update as well, so, I can share a photo or 2.
Sam, any items in the packet you wanted to ask about? If not,
Yeah, I had one that I meant to ask about last week or last month and didn't. On Resilient State Drain and the Boston Bridge and the Army Corps work on upstream of that, the text in the packet update is a bit confusing. I was wondering if there's a confirmation whether both the bridge and Army Corps project have been awarded or the Army Corps is still pending award.
The bridge has been awarded, that's been under construction.
Yeah.
The Army Corps project, it has not been awarded.
Okay, the packet says that it has, so we can maybe get an amendment for next month
Oh.
to update that.
Well, I should rephrase what I just said. It hasn't started construction. And I'll have to go back to the staff packet and see what Steve's update on it was. But they haven't started construction, and whenever they do, I know that, because they're coming to the Dry Creek site, because they'll be coming through our fenced-in area to start moving material. So that hasn't occurred yet. I want to say that was fall. I'll have to look back at the packet.
Okay, maybe ask to Steve would be just to update that next month with this clarity, that'd be great.
were you able to get an answer on that in real time? I know you gave me it.
No, I'm just.
I couldn't tell what you're.
I'm sorry.
No worries. I just thought you were looking at some. Okay, I had one more that I wanted to bring up myself, which was about the white nose syndrome I'm seeing this in the packet, at least for the first time this time. About bats being found in Longmont with this white nose syndrome, all new to me. It sounds from what I'm reading about the description that like it can be really severe, and we take out entire roosts of bats. Roosts, I think they're called that. But I'd imagine that has a lot of knock-on effects to an ecosystem. All the bats are that cause ripple effect of different things across the board. Right now, it seems like we're in like just like monitoring state. But my question is like, is there anything more proactive we should be doing for this? And like, do we know like from other communities that have been affected by this, like what the impact could be? Like, I don't want to catastrophize some strange, it's only 2 bats that we found, right? But still, it could be severe. So I wanted to ask about this.
Well, let me qualify this by saying I'm not a wildlife biologist.
Yeah, fair.
I'm sure that update was written by Scott Cedars, our wildlife biologist. Yes, white nose syndrome is actually a serious problem, and it's already ongoing throughout the country. And it's humans getting into their habitats, like humans touring and walking into caves where bats and sensitive species live. And we've even seen this on some of our own properties. So we've things that you can do if you have like a cave on your property and you're concerned about the bat habitat or you're aware that there are bats there, you can fence off the cave such that the bats can come in and out, but humans cannot, and that'll protect them from white nose syndrome because it's humans that are walking in and introducing this. So that gets at it a little bit. I mean, there are things that we can do. You can work with the Colorado Division of Mines, and they have a program to fund these exclosures.
Oh.
So that, you know, if say a cave is at the mouth of a creek and the water needs to come in and out, and if you put a door there, then you'd be affecting that habitat in a different way.
Mhm.
Well, this, you know, cage with crosshatch, the sediment can come in and out, the bats can come in and out, but then humans cannot. But, you know, but I think, I mean, the Colorado Divisions of Mines probably has more information about it on their website. I mean, large mammals also use caves, so, you have to find the balance with that too.
Parks and Wildlife's also tracking it.
And then I'm out of my depth.
Okay. Fair. That was actually really helpful.
Okay, good.
Something that I caught my eye. Like that's.
Well, I just was
Concerning.
vacationing in West Virginia and we toured a cave and I was thinking about it and
Yeah, like we
tour
should be
guide-
here.
The tour guide was really young and he was telling his stories and it was mostly folklore, but I was thinking about white nose syndrome.
Right. Like actual real life thing.
So,
Thanks for that. Okay. Makes me feel slightly better. Knowing that there is like maybe something we could do. Okay. Any other items in the packet we want to talk about?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, Sam.
There was a nice little timeline, I'm just looking by screens here, about open space education activities, which is great. And Danielle, there was a mention of a presentation, open space, our past, present, future on the 28th. Did that happen?
it is actually happening tomorrow night on the 11th. And I'm sorry, I think I missed doing my updates this month, so mine are 1 month out of date, my apologies. So
Okay, no worries.
I can get into more details because there's a series of things coming up and I can do it in my staff updates if you like.
That was
Sure,
one of
that'd
my
be great. I
questions
was
too, so
looking
that'd
forward
be
to
great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, that's all. So I didn't understand whether it was in the reporting or not, but that was great.
I'm gonna add the tax amounts of the different communities to my informational presentation.
Fun. All right. So then let's move on to items from staff. So Nick Allen and so forth, and others. Start with that.
Alright, let me get that back up here. And we'll just. So other parks and trails projects. So we have Spring Gulch, Reach 2 Phase 3. So this one's still on schedule to open by the end of this month. So I don't know if you guys have seen anything, because you would be sneaking up there and looking at it. But, so they have got the pedestrian, the bridge in, the tunnel in that goes underneath the railroad tracks, which is pretty cool. That was a week prior to this was on Friday, so now they're grading it down and through. And that, so these two pictures are taken like right here looking south, and right here actually. So that is the last segment that needs to be poured, and that's pretty exciting, so. That'll be, by next meeting, maybe we will have tried this.
Yeah.
You don't look very hopeful.
No, well, you know, it's,
I'm just.
I'm still excited. I mean, people are excited, so this will complete a loop, so,
It's a great, I mean, it's a great addition, yeah, that segment, because now it's like you can just keep going and around and back.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, Bicycle Longmont's gonna have a good ride, probably a few weeks after it opens, because we can't really plan for when it opens. It's just
I'm hopeful.
how have the neighbors been on
I
that?
haven't heard anything about the neighborhood.
Okay,
Now, this is being managed by one of our streets engineers, project managers, and so Trish on our team is helping her with some of the administrative pieces of that. So I don't get a daily like updates or anything, but Trish did go out and take all those pictures for us on Friday just to share with you guys. So Thompson Park, as I said, so the anticipated award date is this week with construction contract execution on the 20th, and then it will immediately begin. So these are the areas that will be under construction. We haven't received a site logistics plan yet. Once the contract is executed, we'll have that to know exactly what the extent of their fencing might be. So new shelter improvements to the restroom, new shelter, and then a somewhat different playground footprint and some new paths where they were more straight, and now they're a little bit more organic to kind of follow some of those social paths that have been developed over time. Mino Gallo. So it's in the procurement team's queue. It'll be posted by end of June. We've changed the scope to have a lot of added alternates, as well as added more money to that bucket. So hopefully between those two activities, we'll have more realistic bids coming in that we can move forward with. All of the scope is still there, just some minor modifications of quantities of like sidewalks, the type of restroom building that we're doing. Wherever we could not detract from the park amenities, but provide a little bit more value for our dollars. So to make this a feasible project with the funding that we do have. Garden Acres Bridge pedestrian replacement, those proposals just came in. And I think at the first project meeting was actually just set up, that invite was sent out today. So this, as we're looking at the cricket pitch, this bridge will be replaced with one of the bridges we have in storage. The bridge that we have in storage is longer, so it may take a slightly different angle, which might actually benefit trail users on bikes, as it won't be so 90-degree-ish, but more on a slant. So, because most of the travel comes from this direction across and then continues.
Where do you store a bridge like that out near the
By the sugar, by the wastewater.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a place you don't go alone. Roosevelt Park, that renewal. Elise is working on that statement of qualifications now to go out to design teams. Has been working with Jeff and Ben's teams on the adult fitness course piece to get some, they're starting the public engagement process on that, and will have some boards with some photos and questions, a survey at the rec center and at the senior center to start working and determining kind of, because they're going to do a playground and the adult fitness course offside of that, so getting some feedback on what does that adult fitness course want to be, what does it want to come in. So this one, starting design now as Thompson's just starting construction. Thompson will finish construction and then we'll do Roosevelt, so that the two parks, one of the two is always open.
Is there any plans to do something with the shelter that's just locked up?
Not for this renewal.
The shelter's rentable and rented often, everyone comes every weekend.
It just seems scary to me.
Better than it was.
Secured.
Oh, yeah, people are just like.
It's not scary at all, it's clean and nice inside, and we check out locks. There's a big, just a couple hundred people, somebody, there was a lock I had to go cut, it wasn't one of ours, so. That was my Sunday morning.
The dog park, so Steve's working with some internal city staff to quantify what this scope really wants to be with regard to where are we gonna get the big bang for our buck. So they're just kind of talking through, water, is there opportunities to have, water at the dog park, where to place the shelter and whatnot. He's working on getting his proposals out to engage design as well, so that's just getting started. And I have phase 13.
Oh, you put my, okay. So phase 13 is a little bit stuck in the right-of-way acquisition process. We're bringing this to City Council on June 25th and hoping that'll help us move forward. That's about all that's going on right now. We're trying to get out of this phase. We'd like to move into the next phase, which would be putting out an RFP for construction. So,
Can you remind me about the conflict? I remember hearing about that.
we're just still negotiating with landowners and multiple landowners. We've got multiple stakeholder private landowners along the trail, and most of the negotiations are going fine. Except one. So, that's what we're working on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Since this is a CDOT funded project, we have a third party CDOT approved negotiator that is doing all the negotiations with the landowners for us on our behalf. So, it's just a slow process.
Is archery going away?
Yes, their lease is ending, their lease technically ends December of this year, but, well, they'll probably get to stay through their lease because of these right-of-way negotiations. But yes,
But they're
when
aware
this
that.
lease is up, yep, Stutz knows that, and Wes knows, but it's,
Okay.
unfortunately, yeah, the trail is gonna go right through there and the construction, the two would be in conflict. That's not to say that they can't come back when the trail is built. If you know, we're not opposed to that. We just can't have them there during construction, and that period of time is gonna last, so we've been talking to them about, they've been having trouble finding another space, and so we're aware of that too.
If that design is reached 100%, can I ask if that design is shared if possible? On the
Sure.
website,
Yeah.
or to future avenues of kind?
Yes.
I would just add on to, I guess, from why I'm saying that. I met with Elisa Chair about Thompson Park a few weeks ago, and she shared the design documents that she had that were incredibly detailed and really built my confidence that a lot of questions I had were being taken into account around, for example, tree health and soil compaction and access and things. And I think generally the public, and I certainly am hungry for information about these designs as they are completed. And we discussed it maybe a year ago, you couldn't share it because it's 30%, which makes sense, but one way to build public interest and maybe even show the public is in favor of this through that interest, so the landowners might be more open to negotiating right away, would be to show the progress that's been made, which is, this is going to be amazing, here's how great it looks, probably all excited about it. Whereas right now the website just says it's in design. And I think, as soon as things are able to be shared, generally I'm going to be asking for it, that's why I have that request.
Right. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. It's a little sticky with the private landowners when negotiations are still going on to share out a design publicly when we're not quite done with right-of-way negotiations. So that's kind of why it's.
Is it an issue of thinking that somehow we have deep pockets, or is it just an issue of how it winds across the property?
It's just an issue of not agreeing on, the landowner would like us to buy the entire parcel, and we would like us to just buy the trail right of way.
Okay.
And we've been speaking to this landowner, formally since May 2023. And, we're unfortunately at a bit of a standstill. So more to come on June 25th. Okay, so that's St. Vrain Greenway, phase 13. Let me just see here. Oh, going back to the timeline, the open space education timeline. So yeah, I put that in the prep packet, and then the updates, items 4 and 5 are upcoming, and item 4 has the wrong date on it. So tomorrow night, June 11th, is the informational open space presentation to City Council. It's very similar to the one that I gave to Pratt back in September 2023. And so that's tomorrow night. And then coming this Friday, June 14th, is the open space field trip. It's the same field trip that we did in 2023. We put it on the city calendar. City council, PRAB, the public are invited. So depending on who shows up, we might caravan in people's own cars. We have some city cars for the city council members and PRAB members that have RSVP'd yes for that.
That's the 14th.
That's the 14th. Yep, and we're meeting at the upper parking lot at Sandstone,
Okay.
and going from there, and it'll be natural resource staff, and then Jean Turner, our oil and gas
I
specialist.
was looking for that for days. I thought I had missed it, and I was.
You didn't miss it? It's coming.
No, I just
Coming.
was looking for it. I kept looking for it in my email, trying to figure out who had sent it, and it was sitting in the back of my mind, but I kept trying to remember where I had seen it. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm like, I was afraid I had missed it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
What time does it start?
it starts at 10. So if anybody changes their mind, all are welcome. It was hard to come up with a date and time.
And this is it. We're gonna meet.
We're gonna meet at the Sandstone Ranch,
We got you.
it's like soccer parking, the one closer to the visitor center, but not across from the visitor center, the big parking lot before you get to the visitor center. And the upper parking, it's not the upper parking lot, it's not the across from the visitor center, it's before that.
So the group shelter.
Yeah, near the
Next to
big
the
group
barn.
shelter, exactly. You guys can describe it better than me.
Do you have a likely route or anything? Like if I was able to join for part of it and just have to go in my own car so I could leave before you were done?
Yes, I can try and send that. I think we're doing the same route that we did last year, so let me see if I can pull that together and get that. I'm getting a list of what to send in this long email here to Brad.
We have any other items from staff?
Sure, 4th of July,
Yeah.
we're working towards an event that night, as you all know. Fireworks will be shot off at the Truck Fire Training Center. I'm working with Woodby Brewing and the cops and all sorts of groups trying to get something going in a very short timeline. Everybody's really chipped in. Woodby's been a big help. Did some incredible administrative gymnastics with liquor licensing to allow their license to expand to the streets, and so basically the plus of those streets. Second and Emory. And we'll have orange fence around there, and the Kiwanis is helping with some gate guards with liquor control, working on games for kids, working on bands, working on symphony, so it's all in the works and gonna
A lot
happen.
to pull together in such a short time.
Yeah, it's something. Starting about 5 o'clock on the 4th, so we'll be out there. We'll be out there at that time.
And the day of the 4th at Roosevelt is the symphony stuff.
Symphony first round.
yeah.
First round,
Yeah.
right?
First round.
Yes. I haven't personally read it.
No, I know. I just, I
I
know
think
you
there
were.
was a press release that went out today that covers both of those.
Okay.
So, any questions on it? It's happening. It's gonna be fun. Try to keep it as simple as possible for cops and staff and us and everyone else.
Any other updates? Yeah, should be an amazing event. Okay, then we're gonna move on to items from the board. Do you have any other items you wanna raise outside of the packet updates?
I was just wondering if you, since I wasn't able to help with the crowd and member interviews, how that's going.
So it was very odd this year. So we had 6 candidates. Thomas joined us for one of the interviews. Ben, David, and I were in all 3 of them. we had one person withdraw to be considered for a different board, and two of the candidates would not respond to our emails or phone calls to schedule an interview. So Hannah, I spaced her last name, but we made a recommendation to council to appoint her. I believe council is doing some of their own interviewing this Saturday, and then they will make appointments at their June 25th meeting.
Which would mean that we would have an additional member by July.
In July, yep.
Great, thanks.
Stop.
Yeah, and any improvements in terms of like future of the website? Do you guys know any of this? Because this kind of speaks to Sam's issue of communication.
Well,
on the website. Everybody's like, well, wait until the new website comes, but you know, we're like a 2-year-old thing. Well, not.
I mean, I don't want to defend them, believe me on that, but I think it's actually been a really short timeline compared to the last one, which was,
that was
like
that
6
was-
years.
That was, yeah.
So, but I think it's moving along. I mean, what I've heard that July, they're,
I don't know. I heard July, but
you know, that's
we
the
will
last
we
couple
will
weeks.
be ready to report on that at next month's meeting.
Okay.
Kind of a
Alright.
time frame. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, because just as things happen, whether it's you know these groups, any other groups, there just never seems to be a plan of how to update information on the website. And it has to go through like one central command. It's never going to be anything that works. You have to let departments speak to the website,
Mhm.
and so I've yet to hear what the policy is on that. So.
On our Parks and Trails Development page, we do work with them frequently to update our park statuses on our projects. I don't know if you've been to those lately.
Yeah.
But it, you know, we just added, I think it was on Friday, the revised Clover rendered site plan, just so that the neighbors would have easy access to it and whatnot, so. We do have frequent communications with them, and I know we have Fox Meadows construction starting up, going on the website, those were discussions today, as well as, there was something going out for Dry Creek, I can't recall what it was, but just to kind of get words out there, so.
Okay.
Sam? Any? No?
Okay.
Okay, then I guess we can move to the last item on the agenda, which would be adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll move to during the meeting.
Give it a second.
Second.
I was
All
gonna
those-
say, listen,
All those in favor? All right, we have a that's great. We're adjourned.